BLUF Gaming here with a video covering the different government types in Imperator Rome. There are three major classes of government: tribes, monarchies, and republics. Each of those are further subdivided into more specific government types. Most tribes start in one of two forms: migratory or settled tribes. Tribal leaders rule for life, but their power is mitigated partly by their clan chiefs who can raise their own retinues and potentially limit the choices rulers can make. Migratory tribes, as their name suggests, have the ability to pack up and move their cities to another location, while settled tribes, and every other type of government in the game for that matter, are less mobile. They are more centralized, however, which brings them closer to higher levels of government should they choose to convert. Later in the game, a settled tribe can upgrade to a federated tribe if they wish, which is a bit more powerful. Settled tribes can also convert to a migratory tribe, a monarchy, or a republic. Migratory tribes, however, only have the option to convert to a settled tribe. You can start as a federated tribe, but there are only a few countries scattered around the world that start this way. Republics have rulers that reign for 5 years before being replaced by an elected successor. Republics have a 100-seat senatorial body which holds some sway over the choices you can make with your country, and the senates are divided into 5 factions: civic, military, mercantile, religious, and populist, which vie for more seats within the voting body. Your ruler will belong to one of the factions, and his faction brings different benefits or penalties to your country while he rules. Republics can have many forms, including aristocratic, plutocratic, oligarchic, democratic, or theocratic. There's no apparent higher level of republic that you can advance into in the way that a settled tribe can advance into a federated tribe. However, republics can advance into a dictatorship, which is a high level of monarchism. Like tribe chiefs, monarchs rule for life. Monarchs don't have to deal with senates, but they do have to worry about their line of succession and pretenders. Monarchies have the largest variety of types available, although many of their types are very similar to republic governments. Monarchies can be stratocratic, aristocratic, autocratic, theocratic, or plutocratic. I mentioned earlier that there is a higher type of monarchy called dictatorship. For countries that are monarchies already, however, there is also the possibility of upgrading to an empire. Each government type mentioned so far has its own set of traits that affect the government's performance, but perhaps the most important benefits from each government type are its ideas. There are 4 types of ideas, and a government type will grant you access to 2 to 4 ideas of specific types. Settled and migratory tribes grant 2 ideas, but not from the same types as each other. Federated tribes, and most monarchies and republic types, grant 3 ideas of various types. And finally, dictatorships and empires grant 4 ideas, 1 of each type. That's your bottom line up front. If you'd like to hear a lot more detail about each government type, what benefits each provide to your country, and how some of their specific mechanics operate, just stick around for the rest of the video. Thanks for sticking around. Rather than make traditional tutorials as I normally do, I'm going to be making videos that cover individual mechanics of Imperator Rome so you can familiarize yourself with the game as we approach its release. Tomorrow I'll release another video about pops, and I'll continue to release more videos as time goes on. Before we dive into different bonuses provided by each government, let's first look at the starting selection of countries and talk about which are available to us. There's a time link in the description that lets you skip this starting country section if you like. Scandinavia, the British Isles, and nearly all Eastern and Western Europe are tribal nations. Settled tribes are the most common, but in Eastern Europe you'll find many migratory tribes, as well as a lot of unclaimed land you can spread into. Arvernia is the only federated tribe I've found in Western Europe, but it's possible I've missed one somewhere. Oritania, in the Spanish Peninsula, is another federated tribe, while the rest of the Spanish Peninsula are settled tribes with a few republics along the Mediterranean coast of Spain and Western Europe. The most notable republic in the area being Carthage, who has land spread wider than the measles in 2019. Moving over to Italy, we have several settled tribes, another rare federated tribe in Etruria, and several aristocratic republics in and around Rome. For the south and the peninsula, we see a switch to plutocratic republics, then a picnic in Sicily where we have an aristocratic monarchy, a settled tribe, and of course Carthage again spread against oligarchic republican ways. Now over to Greece, we have a bigger mix of monarchies and republics of varying types. A few keynotes about Greece is that Sparta is a monarchy surrounded by republics. Athens, so far as I can tell, is the only democratic republic in Europe that isn't on an island in the Mediterranean. And finally, every country north of Macedon and Talantia is a tribe. Down in Crete, the whole island seems to be a testbed of governing methods with 3 autocratic monarchies, 2 democratic republics, 2 plutocratic republics, and an oligarchic republic. Now that I look at it, there are way too many countries on this island, and I suddenly want to start here on my next game. In the Eastern Mediterranean, we have a variety of small republics, several democratic, and a couple of key players in the aristocratic monarchies of Thrace and Phrygia. Let's jump back west and work our way back to this point along the northern border of Africa. Similarly to Eastern Europe, we have some unclaimed land in northern Africa, but the terrain soon becomes impassable. Carthage, of course, has spread its tendrils sporadically along the northern coast, but we also have the monarchy of Mauritania and a few tribes in the area as well. When it comes to republics in Africa, oligarchic republics are all you're going to find, and we have several along the coast just waiting to become part of Carthage. Egypt, of course, is a monarchy, and apparently that caught on as everyone else in the area is a monarchy, with the exception of a few tribes. In Arabia, though, we do find a rare federated tribe and a slew of settled tribes. Then, surprisingly, republics have sprung up again. Everyone else on the map is either a monarchy or a tribe, with the big players of the Seleucids and Maurya being the most noteworthy monarchies in the area. It's worth noting that, even though they can call themselves the Seleucid Empire, they are not actually an empire. Not yet. Now let's take a closer look at what sets these government types apart. I covered the big points during the intro, but let's get into the finer details. Luckily, they won't be hard to cover. Let's start with tribes, and specifically the migratory tribes. First off, let's take a look at how they can migrate. In order to migrate, you have to choose to leave behind a city with at least 3 pops. Just click on the city you want to leave and then click this button next to your flag. All of your pops will become light infantry migrants that you can move around like a normal unit. You can then move them to any city you control or any unsettled city and press the settle button to have them become a pop again. If you do this on one of your own cities, they will just join the city as a new pop. However, if you have at least 3, you can settle in an empty city and claim it as your own. This is by far the most unique ability that any government has, and learning to use it well can make starting as a migratory tribe worthwhile, despite all the other disadvantages. On the more plain side, migratory tribes are able to choose 2 military ideas and gain plus 15% national tribesman production and plus 10% national population growth. Migratory tribes only have one choice when it comes to changing their government type, and that's to become a settled tribe. Moving on to settled tribes, they lose the ability to migrate, and, like every other government type in the game, must use the colonize method to spread into uninhabited lands. Settled tribes have 1 military and 1 oratory idea, plus 10% to their max civilization, and plus 15% to national tribesman happiness. Tribes may downgrade to a migratory tribe or upgrade to a federated tribe, democratic republic, or autocratic monarchy. Federated tribes gain a civic idea in addition to the military and oratory idea from settled tribes. They also gain plus 20% national tribesman production, plus 15% civilization, and get a 15% discount on promoting tribesmen or slaves to freemen. Like a settled tribe, a federated tribe can downgrade back to migratory or change government types to adopt democracy or monarchism. All tribes have clans and clan chiefs with whom you must manage relations. Your clan chiefs may raise their own retinues without affecting your nation's manpower, which can be a blessing during war. However, if those clan chiefs don't like you, it can be very dangerous. Those retinues will be completely loyal to the clan chiefs, and you aren't given the option to pay the retinues in an attempt to curry their favor. Like monarchies, a tribal ruler will rule for life. Unlike monarchies, however, the ruler's successor is chosen by the clans. Next, let's move to monarchies as they're simpler to explain than republics. A monarch's successor is chosen based on their bloodline, and those who stand to gain the throne in the absence of the current monarch or his heir are pretenders. Pretenders, typically the son of any king aside from his firstborn, lose 0.2 loyalty per month, which can lead to them attempting to circumvent the line of succession in nefarious ways. Be wary of putting any pretender in charge of an army, although they can raise retinues of their own even if they aren't a general if their loyalty falls too far. Another benefit that all monarchies gain, even dictatorships and empires, is plus 30% to their max civilization level, an indication of how likely their inhabitants are to partake in barbarian practices. Let's go alphabetically and start with aristocratic monarchies. This is by far the favored government among starting powerful governments. Egypt, Macedon, Thrace, Phrygia, the Seleucid Empire, and Maurya are all aristocratic monarchies. 4 of those are among the 6 recommended starting countries. Aristocratic monarchies start with 1 military and 2 oratory ideas. They get plus 10% national citizen happiness, and their tyranny level is reduced by 0.1 every month. Moving on, there are a few noteworthy autocratic monarchies on the starting map. Megalopolis is one, and while it's small, it is the seat of a potential nation of Arcadia, so you can view it either as a key step in developing Greece or a key target. Mauritania, Armenia, and Cyrenaica are also autocratic monarchies, as well as many other minor countries around Egypt, the Middle East, and southern India. Autocratic monarchies get 1 military, 1 civic, and a religious idea, and plus 10% to their slave production. Plutocratic monarchies are rare. In fact, I wasn't able to find one on the starting map, but it's very possible I missed one. Other monarchies can, however, adopt plutocratic monarchism in the game through your decision menu. Plutocratic monarchies have 1 religious and 2 civic ideas, they gain 10% national commerce income, and their capitals have 1 additional capital import route. Stratocratic monarchies are also rare, but you can start as one in Sparta, a strong starting country with no major obstacles until you butt heads with Macedon. Stratocratic monarchies are likely the strongest starting government type militarily, as they get 2 military ideas and an oratory idea, a 10% boost in national freeman production and freeman-produced manpower, and a plus 0.2 monthly loyalty boost to help keep your generals in line. Theocratic monarchies primarily exist in the periphery of Egypt, with the largest being Dodekaskoinos. These countries are also overlorded by Egypt or Phrygia. However, you can switch to a theocracy if you're already a monarchy of another type. Theocratic monarchies get 1 oratory and 2 religious ideas, 15% additional religious power, and a 25% discount on all spending of religious power. Dictatorships are one of the 2 government types that get 4 ideas, and you cannot start as one in the game. They get 1 of each idea type, 15% improved in national citizen production, and a 10% boost to national freeman happiness. Unfortunately though, they also gain 0.04 monthly tyranny, so you'll want to have a way to manage that before switching into this government type. Empires are the other government type with 4 ideas, 1 of each type, and, like dictatorships, you must work toward becoming an empire rather than starting as one. Both freemen and slaves get a 15% bonus to production in empires. Now let's move on to republics. Rulers in a republic only rule for 5 years, but they can be re-elected after 10 years if they remain popular. A republic has a 100-seat senate divided into 5 factions: civic, military, mercantile, religious, and populist. Each faction has a leader and a faction support number showing how many seats they hold in the Senate. At the end of a 5-year term, whichever party has the most support will put forth a ruler. The likely ruler, based on current conditions, is shown in your government menu along with a timer showing the next election date. You can boost a particular party, giving them 10 extra seats, by clicking one of these buttons at a cost of 5 tyranny and a varying amount of oratory power. Having a ruler from a particular faction grants your country modifiers specific to that faction. A civic faction ruler grants a discount of 10% on building cost and time, and a 25% bonus in national tax income. Military rulers grant a 10% bonus to Army and Navy morale. Mercantile grants 10% commerce income and a +2 diplomatic reputation. Religious faction rulers grant a 10% boost to omen power and 33% discount to convert pop religion. Finally, having a populist ruler grants no bonus at all, but in fact makes all your power costs 10% more expensive. Why would you allow the populist party to take power? Well, you can't become a dictatorship until they have more than 80 seats. That's why. While having access to these additional faction boosts is great, being a republic doesn't come without a cost. The Senate has approval authority over all your diplomatic decisions. Senatorial support is indicated by hand gestures next to each decision. Thumbs up and thumbs down are obvious, meaning you either can or can't take that action. This gesture indicates a divided Senate. You can still make these decisions in the case of a divided Senate. However, doing so will incur 5 tyranny. Rome is the most prominent aristocratic republic. These republics get 2 military and an oratory idea. Their ruler inspires 0.02 loyalty each month, and the country gets a 10% bonus to national freeman happiness. Democratic republics, such as Athens, get a military, civic, and oratory idea, and the same 10% bonus to national freeman happiness as an aristocratic republic, but they don't get the monthly loyalty bonus. Oligarchic republics get 1 civic and 2 oratory ideas, 10% reduced monthly wages for characters, and a 15% boost to national citizen happiness. Carthage is the most powerful of these governments, but they're also common in southern Greece. Plutocratic republics are rare, and only small countries have this government type in the beginning, but you can adopt it later in the game if you wish. Their bonuses are identical to plutocratic monarchies, as they have 1 religious and 2 civic ideas, 10% national commerce income, and an additional capital import route. Theocratic republics also have identical bonuses to their monarchical counterpart, with 1 oratory and 2 religious ideas, 15% more religious power, and the 25% discount on spending religious power. And that's it. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about Imperator Rome, or if there are any specific game mechanics you'd like for me to cover in future videos. Please keep in mind, though, that this is a Paradox game, so there are going to be a ton of mechanics in this game, and it may be a while before I can cover them all. Also, as I'm making my initial videos before the game has become publicly available, it's very likely that I'll miss some things, since there isn't a community of information available for the game quite yet. If you liked this content, please click like to let me know, and subscribe to my channel so you see when my next videos release. Of course, you can dislike my videos as well, but if you dislike my video, I'll ask Paradox to remove all wikis on their games from the internet and place copyright claims against any community-driven efforts to make more. Somehow I don't think they'll listen to me, but I'll ask them anyway. Thanks for watching Bottom Line Up Front, and I'll see you next time.